Hey everyone, welcome back to OC Outdoorsman. Fishing with me today are Glenn, Quan, and Kevin. We'll be headed north towards Salt Creek in search of the kelp beds. Another thing I'll be doing today is testing out my newly upgraded live well. As you know, last week I was using a bucket. Well, this week I'm using a cooler. It's a 15-gallon cooler. It's behind me. You can't see it right now, but I'll show it to you in a minute. But first, we need to pick up some live bait. Here we are at the bait barge. As you can see, Glenn is just passing off some live sardines into my new live well. You can kind of get a glimpse of it here. Much more room for them to swim. I also added a secondary aerator to provide more oxygen, so we'll see how well they do today. Another benefit of using a cooler over the bucket is the lid. I'll be able to protect the sardines from the sun and prevent the water from getting too warm. First stop on our way north are the Boiler Rocks, and Kevin strikes first. He lands a nice little white sea bass. It's well short of the limit, but they're still really fun to catch. There's a good shot of his fish. He's gonna let it go. I drop in a live sardine, and the first fish of the morning for me is this little barred sand bass. Here I'm now at Salt Creek, and you can just see that big wall of water approaching. The swells have really increased at this point, and you just need to be really careful out here. You don't want to be at the crest of a breaking wave. It could easily overturn your kayak and you could end up in the drink. But later in the morning, when winds really started to pick up, you could see it's starting to get a bit more choppy. Behind me, you're gonna see Quan and Glenn there. But the good news is we found the long lost kelp beds of Dana Point. Just north of the strand and right around Salt Creek are two good sized kelp forests. Let's fast forward a bit. You can see it's a little after 12, and I want to show you my new live well. I'm going to submerge my camera into the water, and keep in mind we're 5 hours into the trip, and look how fresh the sardines are. They're not stressed out, and the water temperature was maintained quite well since the walls are insulated, so it works so much better than a bucket. A little bit more about the cooler. I picked it up at Costco for like $39. And it has that nice lid. It too is insulated. Another great feature of this cooler are the two side handles, which enable me to affix it to my kayak much more securely than I could with that old bucket. I'll have to create a separate video to show you how I've secured it to my kayak. Here I'm making my approach to the landing point, and you'll see that Quan and Glenn have just arrived as well. So as I pull my yak back up to the beach, you'll see Glenn is showing me a vacuum hose or attachment that he found inside the harbor. I'm glad he picked it up. Less junk or trash in the water. Overall, it was quite the productive day. I got to test out my newly upgraded live well, and we found two new kelp beds right here in Dana Point. Unfortunately, we found them too late in the day, so we didn't get a chance to fish the kelp beds, but we will next weekend, that's for sure. We covered a lot of water today. Thanks again for watching, and please be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.